Hello, hello, wonderful people. Hello, this is your girl, Abigail Mensah-Bonsu, and welcome to this week's Sovereign Divinity podcast. So this week I have I have an amazing goddess here. I think I've been following you for a while and I've seen your progression, and I was just telling her that when I listen to her teach and channel, it's like she's singing, but it's not just like I can't even put into words. Like she is singing from a soul level, and it goes right into your heart. Like the words that come out and the way it just all flows together. And oh, she's highly gifted, amazing at what she does. And so let me go ahead and just read um, the the bio, because I can go on with the compliments. And then we'll just get her on and we're just going to have an amazing conversation. And I can't wait for you guys to experience her magic like I have. So Solara Rose, I love your name, by the way.
Thank you.
Solara Rose is a renowned channel and catalyst for high frequency flow mastery, abundant expansion, and thriving divine success. She has been described as the modern Tesla of human energetics and living vortex of cosmic magic. With a background in intensive personal transformation, integrative sciences, philosophy, and psychology, she's who visionary leaders seek to support accelerated quantum growth in all areas of their life. And she uses her unique multisensory abilities to support individuals and organizations with embodying their most magnificent, infinite self so they can actualize their genius, maximize impact, and advance their prosperity in service to global flourishing. Good God, that's delicious. Her passion is to inspire and unlock the peak power, beauty, and creative brilliance in others. Did you guys feel that just from that description? Welcome, Solara. Like, seriously.
Thank you so much. Beautiful, vibrant, radiant, beloved. It's an honor to be here sharing space with you.
Beautiful. Like, it just, yeah, I'm just so excited for the audience to get to experience your magic and your soul song. Like, that's what we're going to call it, that. And so, as always, what I ask all my guests is, the first question is, what does sovereign divinity mean to you?
Those two beautiful, luscious, powerful words. You know, it's being embodied as source, having absolute agency, creative agency in our creative landscape, knowing ourselves as whole, as complete, as the divine, with all of the qualities and characteristics and attributes of that energy, and being deeply unified within to that super intelligence, to our super nature, and moving powerfully from that space in our creation to actualize infinite potentials and possibilities. I mean, that's a lot in this one human body, in this one incarnation, but through the span of space-time, you know, that's the ultimate purpose of creation, of the creator, is to realize and actualize infinite potentials and possibilities. So, you know, I mean, it's being the self in its pure state.
Absolutely. And who are you? I mean, I think we can already experience this, but I want to hear it in your words. Who are you when you are in the fullness of your higher self's expression?
I mean, I am the self. I am a romantic. I am deeply, richly, voluptuously in love with life and just engaging in sacred relationship with everything that is within and before me. I mean, to me, everything has vital activated consciousness and awareness. It's all the beloved. So I'm just having that relationship, sharing that relationship with life. And for me, it's just so multi-prismatic and vibrant and colorful and alive. And that's, you know, abundance, super abundance, living in the field of that and knowing that as all that is. And so everything is alive with magic and mysticism and everything is speaking to me and engaging with me. And the whole thing feels deeply enchanting and beautiful and safe and like home.
I can just listen to you talk all day. So I'm curious, like how did your journey even begin? How did this magic begin to unfurl in your life and expand in your life?
Yeah. Well, like most of us, I'm sure, by experiencing the stark opposite and the stark contrast to all of this, going through a depth of struggle and suffering and hardship, and really learning how to access, my super normal capacities within my own being, because there are so many points in my life where that's all I had. I didn't get to learn trust in luxury. I got to learn trust when the trust was all I had.
Yes.
Having literally nothing, no resources, no one there to support me, nowhere to sleep, not knowing where my next meal was going to come from, being in the depths of dissonance and trauma in my being, and only having that power within myself to call upon, to build and establish relationship with. And through a series of deeply catalyzing experiences, and I would say it's, things that many of us face in health, relationships, finances, and going within to access that power and starting to communicate with it and witnessing it respond to me in extraordinarily powerful ways, I just began to recognize, wow, like we're all sitting on top of a treasure chest of love and beauty and magic and wonder and perfection and unconditionality. And that's accessible within us wherever we be, and no matter what's going on for us. So I started to cultivate my connection to that energy. And then, ultimately coming to the expanded realization that that is me, that we are the Tao, that our essence permeates all that is and is present and inherent within all that is. And through years, over a decade of deep cultivation and establishing relationship with that energy, all the other codes and programs and patterns and limitations and all of that starts to dissolve back into truth. It's in the entire field. Simply, we become one unified field of truth, of quintessence, of divine genius. And then we're living in a world that is purely reflective of that, which is where the diamond octave came through. And so a deep devotion, my entire, I have been in such deep devotion to self, to the will of life. And I have voluntarily sacrificed and given up many things that were not in my greatest flourishing and service to my being and to my life and my loved ones and self. And so I know what it's like to build character and strength and integrity through those profound initiatory experiences, where it was like, okay, in order to go to that next level of expansion, this is what's being called to be surrendered. And always experiencing so much more enrichment and fulfillment and goodness in that next expansion. So through time, learning to trust that. Yeah.
Wow. So, by the way, I noticed there's a point where the screen literally like lit up, and it looked like you have like these, I think they're council members, like literally behind you, and they're still there. That is incredible. Yeah. I have a question for you. So I noticed when you were speaking, you kind of close your eyes in some areas. Are you channeling?
Well, what I'm doing is I'm just melting back into the space of being the self. And I will access so much of that by going deep within my own being. So in those spaces of awakening to consciousness, awakening to, who and what I am in truth.
Yes.
I'm in these deep transcendental meditation states and going within. And so when I'm doing that, I'm melting back into, my third eye, my spiritual centers, and really seeing and feeling and experiencing myself as the wholeness of that. Now, another way to access that too is just like, zoop, eyes wide open, energy expanded wide out. And There's so many different ways to access it, but that's such a deep space of intimacy.
Yes.
So I feel like, yes, I'm channeling, but I think we're all channeling when we're accessing that,
Absolutely. I agree. So let's go ahead and dive in, because I really love the topic that we're going to be chatting about. And I love how you're connecting divine sovereignty and creation. So let's talk about that. How do they even connect?
Well, to really access the fullness of our capacities and our power, it's coming from that space of sovereignty. I mean, we'll call it the opus of pure magic, is when we are in rich, resonant accord with the self at all levels of our energetics and our being, our awareness, our thoughts, feelings, actions, words, deeds, all of it, when it's all in harmonic congruence and we start to move from that space, that's when we're really accessing a life of pure synchronicity, because we are synchronized to that super intelligence. So that's true sovereignty. It's unification with the self and the all. So and so unification with the self is knowing all as the self. And at that point of awareness, there is no longer an inside and an outside, an internal and an external. It's just one unified field. And so sovereignty is moving as the full sum total embodiment of that field, which is immeasurable, ineffable, incomprehensible in a lot of ways, because it's infinitely expanding and discovering itself. And so from that point of sovereignty, from that point of wholeness, we're already lined up to be experiencing a constant flow of miracles in our world, which is just everything becomes a reflection of that. And then we get to really create from our multidimensionality and from a space of deep integrity and wholeness and abundance, and for the sheer joy and pleasure of creation itself, because it just feels so good to create and to share and to express and to pour our love from the wellspring within us into the world. And that's, just for the pleasure of it, and everything else that manifests in our world is a byproduct of us shining that love and that creativity and vibrancy. Because when I see creation awake is exotic and diverse and colorful and alive, and that, that's genius. You can't control the mechanism of that. You just got to allow it to come through.
Exactly. So I'm hearing this question. I wonder if my audience, or our audience actually, would if this is something that would come up for them. So looking at you, like you're an example of someone who's in flow with that the field that you were talking about, like have access to it and the expansiveness of it. So it's like, how I'm gonna embody my audience. Like, how do I go from where I am to being in that field, in that coherency? Like, what is that journey like?
Yes. Receive, baby, receive. That's the first thing they want to say. Become a magnet, like fill yourself with as much light and spaciousness as possible. So on a very practical level, this is just about infusing ourselves with prana, with breath, with life force, with chi, bringing all of our juicy divine nectar and orgasmic life force online. And this is about creating inner stillness and spaciousness and melting into spaces of deep silence and reflection, romancing our soul, enjoying the sensuous pleasures and novelties of life and of the human experience, and nourishing ourselves with nature, with Gaia, with all of the beautiful organic, alive fruits and vegetables and things that contain actual photonic light and energy into our body and into our system. But the primary space for most people, because we're so, it's like if we look at ourselves as sacred sentient technology, a lot of us we've got all these tabs open on our computer. We've got the past running, we've got the future running, we've got and our system is bogged down. It's like, please, like, shut me off and reboot. So there's creating that spaciousness is primary. So it's looking at, what am I, we only receive what we have the capacity to hold, what we have room for. So eventually, you start getting excited about letting stuff go. You're like, yep, I'm ready for the new. Who can I give
Exactly.
this to? So creating that spaciousness and internal silence and stillness, and coming into a space of deep harmony in our parasympathetic, our nervous system. And, we can access that by, one, melting back into deep silence, and two, infusing our space with instrumental music, things that are calming and soothing and nourishing to the nervous system, so that we can integrate the symphony of life, of divine intelligence, which is, it just only knows pure truth. It knows everything as beauty. It knows everything as perfection and wholeness and abundance and light, and harmonizing with that within our own vessel. So giving our systems a rest. This is one of the primary gifts of everything that's unfolding on the planet right now, is that we have all of this spaciousness to drop into point zero, bliss point, I like to call it, and really receive and drink from the wellspring of life, and to really be there for ourselves. And that is how global unification actually happens in synarchy naturally, is by each one of us taking impeccable, extraordinary care of ourselves and our life and our world, and being faithful stewards to all that we are and all that we have created for ourselves and our lives, allowed ourselves to receive. And as we each do that right where we stand, naturally, global unification, global synarchy, global flow, but it's about connecting to our own rhythms and cycles and pulse and, needs and desires and requirements and all of this first and primarily. And then global unification, it's just a natural byproduct. It's, and we've been going about it the reverse way. From a space of needing deep nourishment within ourselves, we're going out and extending our energy out to in a loving, caring attempt to harmonize the world, but that cannot be accomplished from a space of internal dissonance. So it's redirecting all of that luscious, loving, caring energy back into our vessels, expanding our capacity, creating space, creating room, having beautiful, deep, luscious dialogue with the divine intelligence, the fabric of space-time itself, having that communication, requesting, what we want, need, desire, getting into the embodiment of our vision, and really nourishing all of this primarily and first. As we do that, we come into alignment and deep synchrony within our own being. Then we start to experience profound miracles in our world, because there's no resistance. So dropping resistance from the system would be like the total sum. The most important thing that we could do is to release all that resistance and create spaciousness for that harmony to emerge.
Wow. I love that you mentioned bringing all that yumminess back to you, because I feel like that's so important. And so many times, especially in the coaching and healing and spirituality, it's like the energy is put outward instead. I'm here to help. I'm here to be of service. But then we don't realize that the true service begins with you before it's extended out. So go in deep with me with that. Like, where is that where's the dissonance within us that is creating that outside?
Not enoughness. I'm not whole. I'm not complete. I must extend my energy out. I must do more. It creates a frenetic, disassociated, energetic within us where we're not even embodied. Our consciousness is has been diverted into many different directions, and we're not even feeling the fullness and wholeness of who and what we are at that point. And so then we gotta we come back in and saturate in the field of abundance and wholeness and harmony and nourishment, and just saturate there until you feel so good and so orgasmically lit and alive that the natural compulsion, the compelling force, the inspiration becomes a natural arising, a natural emergence and movement out, but not from the space of lack and I have to in order to.
Yes.
You get to because you are God. That's it. That's just it. You get to command your reality with love, with power, and direct your experience simply because you are God and you have everything, all the resourcefulness, the energy, the power, the potential, the capacity with your consciousness to direct your experience. All of that power to manifest is already inherent within you. So it's, instead of coming from a space of need and lack, it's coming from havingness and wholeness. I already have. That's how we, manifest powerfully. It's like, who do I be when I have? Because I do have. And we anchor into the embodiment of the vision of havingness, of whatever it is that we're looking to create in our life. And we embody that frequency, that resonance, those feeling tones. We saturate in the awareness of the vision, the colors, all of the sensorial qualities of that vision, and we become embodied in it. And then we must align to it.
Mm.
We must. It's quantum physics. And so it's just, and it collapses in is the beautiful thing. We don't have to go out and get. It actually literally collapses into us.
Wow. Those, just hearing you talk about that, and just to kind of even clarify more than use that as an example. Lately, I stepped into my divine right. I'm going to say divine right, or maybe it's a knowing, but it's the knowing that I am here to do more. And so part of that is that I started saying, I am a millionaire. I am a millionaire. And I love that you said it's knowing that you already have it and what that looks like. Because that led me to that question. Well, what does me as a millionaire look like, feel like? Who am I as that? And I'm beginning to allow that vision to come in and hold that vision. And it just feels effortless because I don't feel like I need to, like on the outside, work too hard for it, but just simply receive what is coming in. Yeah. So is that kind of like the process you're talking about?
Yes, that's exactly it. And what a beautiful, exquisite example, because it's about, it's starting to celebrate. Thank you that I have. Thank you that I am. I am this. So how do we show up differently? How do we choose differently? Yeah. We start to choose from abundance. And when we choose from abundance, all the resources and all the things that we require to actualize our expression in the world automatically come to us. We become very strong, solid, super attractive magnetic poles when we are anchored in the knowingness that, yes, I am that. And when you know that in your being, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yes.
You're prophesying your future forward. And so I am that. And you embody yourself fully as that. You choose from that space. You create from that space.
Yes.
And that's where a lot of I noticed this was a huge one. And I learned this in my own journey where I started to, I just dropped in with myself and I thought, well, if I do have $1 million in my bank account, who do I be? How do I probably am a lot more relaxed.
Absolutely.
Probably savoring the journey a lot more. So I really started to cultivate that, and profound growth, almost there, profound growth started to unfurl in my reality because I anchored so richly into that space in my being. I was making love to life and giving thanks for everything. I just started saying thank you from the core of my heart. I was like, thank you, life. Thank you. Just celebrating every single thing that was arising in my experience, even the deep challenges. I was like, thank you for being here. Thank you. This is moving out of my system. Thank you that I have an opportunity to release this and step into something new. Just thank you for everything. And when we're in that field of appreciation, everything must appreciate in our reality. So it's like, love and gratitude and appreciation are potent, powerful, creative. It's the most powerful creative force there is.
Yes, absolutely. I love that you mentioned the challenges too, because one of the things I noticed as I stepped into that truth within myself was anything that was not in vibration with that started popping up. So it's like, does that mean that I have to work really hard where I won't have time for my son? I won't have time for my family? That was one of the first things that came out. I was like, I don't want that. I know I can be a millionaire and still enjoy life. And so I asked the universe to begin to reflect to me people who are living that type of life and have that money, that type of resources, and able to really enjoy life. And I started to look at that, and so, when you call in that truth of who you really are, whatever it is that you're here to create into your life, and you get the opposite start to come out to show, okay, this is no longer in resonance with you, or this is no longer part of your journey or what you're asking for. I feel like most people it will kind of, or what am I looking for? Like when you feel like, oh, well, I guess I can't do that. It kind of breaks your spirit a little bit when you go there. But I feel like it's so important for us to realize that it's coming up because it doesn't belong anymore. And we need to find a way to release that and make space. And I think you even mentioned that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's beautiful. It's, when those things arise in because anytime we're going through an expansion, it doesn't matter where we are in our journey or what quote level we're at, what degree, what octave of consciousness or expansion we're experiencing, there's going to be little micro nuanced aspects of our unconscious that arise to the surface. And when that comes up for me now, I'm just like, yes, thank you. Because I know that it's releasing from my system. Yes. I'm like, it's here and it's coming. So in those moments, I'm like, I just create a little bit more spaciousness to self nourish until it passes. And the more I surrender into it, or the more quickly I surrender into it, the more quickly it alchemizes itself into its greatest potential and expression and power, yes. Really.
Yes. I think I love that you said surrender. The quickly you surrender into it. That is so potent. Like this word keeps coming in over and over, surrender. Like how would you describe that, the action of surrender?
Mm-hmm. I'm not fighting it. I'm not resisting it. I see that it's there. I celebrate it and I become one with it.
Yes.
So atonement is at oneness, at one with. So I just go, okay, this is here. I'm just going to, just like a mother to her child, I am at one with you. Thank you for being here. What do you need? What do you require in this moment? And I give that to myself. And then as I do that, well, one, it removes all the friction and all the tension that I could have otherwise augmented in my mind and made it into something extravagant and dramatic and, but instead I go, okay, this is here. I probably actually require a bit more gentleness right now in this moment. So I'm just going to give myself a spa day and, whatever the thing is that I require, and just go into spaces of deep relaxation when that comes up. And then it can cycle through alchemizing the system much more rapidly.
Beautiful. Oh man, that's so beautiful. It's such a great topic to talk about. Hi, little one.
I hear. What a sweetie. Aw.
Come here. You can sit on me.
Aw. Hi.
He's like, I hear mommy. Hold on, baby.
Oh, what a sweetie. Yeah.
He is he'll be 2 in about 2 weeks.
Oh wow.
And I think he acts way beyond his age.
Oh yeah. Oh, of course. Crystal baby. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So going back to the subject of surrender, and the other part that came in was the awareness aspect of it. Mm-hmm. Right? Being aware of what doesn't feel good and what feels good, and where you are placing your energy, because we know wherever we put our energy is what will manifest in our life. Let's dive into that.
Yeah.
How can we all be more aware when we're on this journey of unfolding?
Yes. So the first component, the way that I experience it is, first and foremost, I drop into bliss point. I drop into deep inner harmony. I am here. I am now. I am the now. All is perfect. All is beautiful. Taking those moments to come to center, and to deep breathing as a way to access, just a space of pure love and pure virtue in the present moment, to just just dropping into the sacral in particular, just letting all of our energy land, coming to that inner home temple within our own vessel, and then deciding, what is the most pleasurable thing that I can do in this moment? Where can I focalize? Well, one, direct my energy, and where can I point the spotlight of my attention and my awareness in order to create more of that reality, more of that world, to bring more life to it? So it's even beyond the realm of thoughts and thinking. It's more of a visionary psychic space that we're accessing. And in the manifestation realms and planes, it's more like, all realities, creations, possibilities, timelines, Earths, versions of Earth are here and accessible, already created, already crystallized now. What we align to is what we observe. The observer creates the reality. So it's going into these highly imaginative, sensorial, somatic, visionary, psychic realms to cultivate the world and the reality that we desire to be living in, and to get into the full visceral felt experience of that vision in our body. And so it's not so much of a thought. It can be, but thoughts are powerful when they're connected deeply to our vision and the frequency of our emotion. So thoughts unto themselves, if we're just rattling, that actually can be an energetic drain. That's a beta frequency state. We just drain our energy to, that's why some people get exhausted. Like I've done the affirmations. Like if you're going to affirm, so you hear the word firm is in affirm. You got to bring your heart, your soul, your solar plexus. You got to bring all of your energy online, and you got to feel and see yourself in connection to that thought, that word, in the tonality of it. Like, I am divine love. I am beauty. I am perfection. I am wholeness. Feeling ourselves in those spaces, resonating ourselves and seeing ourselves simultaneously. That's when thoughts and words have real power in our creative landscape. And what's so palpable about that is it is quality over quantity. Versus just streaming through many different thoughts. I'm getting into the full, rich quality and tonality of presence itself. And I am activating at a quantum level those realities and what those words, what they symbolize for me uniquely. And I'm seeing it at the same time. So all of our faculties are on board, and our whole energetic is a yes to what we're creating and calling forth. And that's the power of invocation and activation. You do one potent, powerful activation and you mean it, you just save yourself the whole rest of your week of affirming every day for 30 minutes. You just dedicate one really solid ceremonial sacred space to just that practice once a week. And it has far-reaching benefits that are much more exponential in nature, meaning, it's like that's the benefit of flow when we're in those deeply present, highly connected and interconnected grand states of self, is that we can accomplish as much in a short period of time as we could. So one of the examples is we can accomplish as much in 4 hours as somebody can accomplish in a 5-day steady state work week, where 1 step equals 1 billion steps versus a linear 1 step in the linear equaling 1 step. And I call that with absolute love and honor, because I've done it in my life. I call it cookie cutter practicality. Yes. Instead of, we can still be highly practical and pragmatic in a non-linear quantum fashion that's much more effective, efficient, and exponential in nature. And beneficial. It simplifies and efficientizes the whole process of manifesting.
Yeah. So I want to backtrack real quick. Let's talk about the difference between affirmation and invocation and, ritual. Like, what is it? Because someone here, and I know it because I do it, but for someone who's not used to rituals or, they've probably heard the word invocation and activation. What are the difference?
Yeah. So when I'm doing affirmations, and this is actually one of the places and spaces where I have found EFT tapping to be highly beneficial, although I don't do it in the traditional sense. I tap on the meridian points, but I'm directly programming my brain and my subconscious mind. So I'm giving direct commands to my brain. So the brain absorbs as true exactly what we tell it. Exactly what we tell it. So this is where I call it precision reality creation. So I will tap on the primary points and I will affirm, I am, I have, thank you for. I don't go into any of the negatives. I program directly what I want because we are always experiencing precise feedback. So the more I can code, the rest of the programming will naturally arise and be released in an organic fashion. I don't need to do anything with the old. I'm simply programming in the actualized reality of my dreams, what I want, who I want to be, what I desire to embody, what I am grateful for. And I'm going through all the tapping points. For me, that's an affirmative process. Invocation for me is I am the self and I am calling upon earth, air, water, ether, fire, all of the elements, all of my sacred allies and supernatural networks and companions, all of the ascended masters, the archangels, the cosmic galactic celestial councils of light, the emissaries of light, the great white brotherhoods. And so I'm calling upon my allies and I am saying, I am doing everything in my power and move on my behalf. And I'm speaking directly to divine intelligence, to nature, to life, to the purest essence of source. And I'm having a relationship and we are co-creating. We are creating something magnificent. And I am coding in with specificity. I'm doing everything on my behalf. Reveal to me new possibilities, potential, show me what I can do, bring to me that which is aligned and resonant with, you know, whatever it is that I'm wanting to manifest. And I'm having a full-on dialogue with the expanded self and all of my friends and allies and companions in that space. I am invoking and evoking life itself. And then I can let that go and know that as I follow through. So one of the primary things that we get to do then after we do these powerful invocations is the feminine, we listen, and the masculine, we engage our intuition. So we listen and we follow through in the moment, and it's totally nonlinear. It may not make any sense after a while, to me, it makes sense. I can connect the dots between all of what's happening. I'm like, yep, this is serving that, is serving this. And I can see it because my mind is expanded into quantum mind. So I can see all the movements and we all come to that place where it does start to make sense, but it's not linear. It's, it's like, create this now, update this now, connect with this person now. And we're just in that flow. Go work out now, do a meditation now, and as we listen to our own guidance, that is because we have set the directionality for the energy in the invocation. That is our intuition creating those synchronistic alignments. And it's like, okay, this is the synchrony that's actually taking place now because you gave a very specific direction for that energy. So now these are all the components that need to come into accord in order for that to fully crystallize. So then our primary job is to listen and act, listen and follow through on our guidance.
Yeah. Wow. That's something that, I literally just dove in. Like, I feel like I was floating, just receiving everything that you were saying. There's a question that, let's see if we'll come back. Oh, yes. So how does one know when to do, let's say, affirmations versus an invocation?
Well, I would say primarily you will feel it and you will know it within your being. Your intuition will tell you when it's time. So then the key is to not ignore it. Really, one of the greatest ways that we create our own suffering is that we ignore our intuition when it's guiding us to do something. It's like if our intuition is like, you should probably go work out or, and if we listen to that, then we feel great when we're done. It might not always feel immediately like, oh, I'm so stoked to do this right now. It may feel like we're excited and it may be, eventually it becomes exciting to honor ourselves in that way and fun to gift that to ourselves. But as we're learning to follow through, it may not. But if our intuition keeps telling us the same thing over and over again, we know that's the thing to do. So if an invocation is coming through or if an affirmative process, And it's really just about knowing ourselves and being deeply intimate with what is most effective and impactful for us uniquely in our reality, and engaging those specific processes, rituals, ceremonies. And it doesn't need to look like anybody else's. It doesn't need to look like anything else that anyone is even doing. I mean, it kind of revolutionized EFT in some ways with the way that, but it's because that's what my intuition said to do. It said, let's eliminate what's not necessary. Let's focalize on what's actually powerful and creative, and let's do that. And it has produced profound benefits and results in my life. I'm like, okay, great. This is a whole new thing. And that's how each of us gets to then even access new technologies, rituals, ceremonies, tools that we can support others with, or even just invite them into the space of, listen to yourself. Your being is extraordinarily wise and intelligent and knows what he or she is doing. Listen to yourself.
Yeah. It's very interesting with the EFT. When I started using that, every time, like when I would hear the person say like the negative aspect of it, it never felt right. I would like keep quiet in those areas. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm ruining this. Am I doing this right? And so what you said, like, it really resonates with me. Like, it feels good. If I'm reprogramming myself and I'm using my words, I want to speak what I want to put into myself and not focus on what I don't want to put within myself or program myself with. So thank you for saying that. Yeah.
Yes. That was the exact experience I had. I would always put it on mute. And then finally I was like, I've got to do something different here. It's like, if you're trying to shift your nutrition and eating like the old unhealthy food every time you sit down to have a healthy meal, it just doesn't make sense. You just acknowledge, okay, this is here. I love it. I embrace it. I appreciate it. I'm ready to fully and completely release it and alchemize it into the light of the one. And I'm just going to shift my trajectory and move fully into that which is good and healthy and nourishing and supportive. Why would I need to engage the thing that was creating dissonance? And that's your inner being knew this isn't in harmony with who and what I truly am. So why am I going to affirm that to myself?
Yes. Oh, thank you for saying that. I'm feeling, for all of you listeners, I hope it feels like, I want you to take this as, this is your, the word, looking for the word. This is like your permission to listen to yourself.
Yes.
This is your permission. Hi. Apparently he heard that.
He's like, yes, this is the highest level leadership that exists. People directing others back into their own self, their own genius, their own quintessence, their own intuition, their own leadership within.
Absolutely.
To follow their own navigation. We are all genius incarnate and expressing. And only you know what is perfect and correct for you, and what is ethical for you, and what is aligned for you. And so the greatest thing that any of us can do is to, I celebrate you, trusting you and listening to you and doing what's best for you always.
Absolutely. When I started my work, I remember, I would hear like, well, if you teach people to do what you do, why would they come back to you? And that was like the beginning of it, because my work is about empowering you so that when you leave my session, you can go out there and do it yourself and then help others. And it always feels good. But then when I heard that, I was like, higher self. So how does that really work? I started asking, how does that work? It's like, well, what is your purpose? Let's go back to your purpose. What is that? Because if you see that woman empowered in herself, in her, radiant and bright and in her purpose and happy and living the life, isn't that fulfilling for you? And I was like, yes, it is. And my higher self was like, stop listening to people. They're doing their thing. If it works for them, great, but it's not for you. And you need to just keep doing what you're doing. You will always be taken care of. Mm-hmm. And it's the most fulfilling. It just feels amazing. Like there's no doubt that what I am doing, helping, empowering others to step into their all glory. If you're done with my session and you don't need me anymore, I did my work.
Yes.
I did my work. And it just feels amazing. Yes.
Yes. We are certainly not here to create codependent relationships at any level. We are here to create sovereign, empowered, self-led, divine being. We are that. It's really about encouraging one another to remembrance and creation. And there are 7 billion and counting beings on this planet. You will always align to the people who resonate with and require your service at the exact moments that they do. There's no shortage of people to serve. Allowing that to be open and expansive and fluid. I'm with you 1,000%. I've always felt that same way in my practice. I'm like, by the time we're complete with this, I want you to feel so in your power, in your element, in your sovereign divinity, that you don't need anything outside of yourself. You don't need to seek anything outside of yourself. You know that you have the wisdom and the intelligence and the brilliance and the intuitive faculties and the capacities and the resources and the knowingness and the information and the intuitive guidance that you need within your own vessel. You never have to reach outside of yourself again.
Yes, big yes to that. So, Solara, so tell us, audience, she is gifting you with the diamond activation. You don't want to miss this. I've done this so many times. Like, it's still, I think I got this, it was like years ago, maybe when you first posted it, and I still have it on my phone and I still listen to it. Like, it is incredible. So this is such an amazing gift. Solara, tell us a little bit about this gift.
Yeah. So it was actually quite a spontaneous transmission. I just felt I had just completed a call, and my intuition was just like, now's a great time to channel through a transmission. So I did. And in this specific transmission, I just worked through all of the 13-dimensional chakra systems, energy vortices, our light body, our holographic body, our cosmic, galactic, infinite quantum bodies, all of our energetic centers, our physical, mental, emotional, spiritual bodies, and then all the way out into all the practical facets of our life, our relationships, our creativity, our sexuality, our psychic, visionary skills and abilities, activating all of that, finances, resources, wealth and abundance, our connection to our health and our power, and therefore our health and our vitality being really rooted. And I just work through all the dimensions of the internal and external world. It's deeply thorough and calibrating and harmonizing for all of the systems. And what I have found with that is such a tremendous gift. I'm so thankful that I listened and that I just hopped on and I channeled that, because so many beautiful sacred beings have sent me extraordinary, touching, moving, heartfelt notes of gratitude around ways that has optimized their energetic state and the miracles that have arisen in their life and their experience, just by really allowing themselves to receive the fullness of the transmission. So it's an honor and a pleasure to gift that, to offer that. Please share it far and wide.
Yes, thank you. I wanted to say, the first time I listened to it, it felt like I could not quite sink into it. It felt like I couldn't quite absorb all of it. And so I literally just listened, and I was just like, breathe. And that's all I could do, and just breathe and just know that I was receiving what I needed. And the more I listened to it, the more I would open up. And of course, all the work that I've done too helps, because then I could open up more. And not only now I can actually feel the gifts that are coming through, on all levels of my being. I can see it, I can experience it. And so, this is like high frequency, high vibration gift that she has like blessed us with. So if you find yourself at the beginning listening to it and you're like, I don't know, there's something, just breathe.
Totally.
Like, it's working. It's working. It's magic. Just breathe, connect to your breath. And trust me, every cell in your body is absorbing it. And the more you listen to it, you're literally expanding yourself to receive that and more. So be gentle on yourself and just, Yeah, it's incredible. Thank you so much
Oh,
for that gift. Yeah.
yes, my
So,
honor. And thank you for bringing that forward too. It's so fascinating, the wide range of experiences. There's some people who literally go into a hypnosis so that their
yes,
system can receive it. And so
absolutely.
to breathe is the most exquisitely perfect wisdom that you could have just shared about just instead of trying to necessarily follow it or absorb it with the mind or the intellect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Trying to overthink it. Like, wait, what did she say? Wait,
Right.
wait, maybe I should write that down. That was really good. It's like, wait,
Totally.
calm down.
That's exactly like, what is that word? What language is she speaking?
It's like, oh my gosh, those words, I need to write it. Wait, calm down, just breathe. You can go back. Your mind goes and then tries to like figure everything out. And for me, it felt good to just breathe and receive, just breathe and receive. And that was my mantra, breathe and receive. And eventually it was more than breathing and receiving, it was amazing. So, So Lara, for those people who are drawn to your amazing energy, who want to work with you and experience your magic, how do they find you?
Yes, you can find me at www.solararose.com. And you can also find me on Facebook at Solara Sophia Rose. And you can connect to me on Instagram at Solara Rose. And there's brilliant gifts sprinkled throughout my work and my bios. And on my website, when you join my newsletter, there's more gifts for you there as well. And and I would love to extend a special offer and invitation. So to work with me one-on-one in a session is normally $1,500 an hour. And what I would love to offer on this call is for anyone who's listening and feels compelled to work with me, $500 per session.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, that's incredible.
Yeah. So we go far, deep, wide, expansive, and it's a very potent, palpable container that will give you the tools that you need to really start manifesting powerfully whatever it is that you're desiring to experience in your reality. So I'm honored to offer that and to share presence with anyone who feels called to this work.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. On behalf of all the listeners, thank you. And thank you for being on here with me and just having this delightful, delicious chat, which I've been just daydreaming about. Like I was like, she has to come on here. Like we need to chat. Like, so thank you for your time. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your light. Thank you for your wisdom and being that way shower on what it really means to be fully embodied and in tune with yourself and your truth. Like, I love your work. I love what you do. And I've been following you for a while, and it gets better and better and better every time. So thank you.
Ah, my honor. Thank you. Just like receiving that in the fullness of my being, in my heart, in my vessel, in my cells. Thank you so much for inviting me to share this beautiful, gorgeous, activated, inspiring space with you. Thank you for your embodiment, in your presence, in your feminine, juicy deliciousness, in your heart, in your soul, in your alignment, in your attunement to source. Like you're like the personification of pure gold to me, just so anchored in the purity of your divinity. And it's just so soothing and safe and beautiful and wondrous. So thank you for sharing your presence with me.
I take it all in. I take it all in. I'm absorbing all of that, Yummy. It's funny when you said that it feels like gold. Yeah. So I walk with beings in golden robe, and they have like this massive golden aura, and they just started giggling like, like, yeah, she got you.
Totally.
But that was really cool.
Put on that golden cosmic robe of divinity and rest in your power, my sister.
Oh, I love our guides.
I know, right?
Oh, sweetie, thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you, everyone who listened to this glorious episode. So much blessings to you from our hearts to yours. Have a fabulous week. Goodbye, everyone.
Love you all so much. Thank you.